January 28th, 2024. Nearly 2 years ago, a remote US military outpost in Jordan, it's actually called Tower 22, a drone attack killed 3 American soldiers and over 40 were wounded. The immediate question wasn't just who attacked, it was how come our AI-powered defense systems failed? And this facility, which makes it different from many other American US facilities, is that Tower 22 had a state-of-the-art AI-powered defense system. What did it do? Well, it was designed to specifically distinguish between friendly aircraft from hostile threats. It's a kind of system that's supposed to react faster than any human ever could. And actually, the AI-powered defense system, it saw the enemy drone. It saw the enemy drone coming, and it did nothing. So let me be clear about what happened here, because the detail is crucial for understanding everything that will follow in this episode. This wasn't a technical failure like a blown fuse or software crash. It was not even a hacker attack. It was not even an algorithmic failure. Here's how it worked. At the exact moment the enemy drone approached, an American drone also returned to base. And the adversary knew this. They understood how the AI system thought, what patterns it was looking for, and where the blind spots were. So the enemy drone flew right alongside the US drone. It was mimicking its signature. It was essentially hiding in its shadow. And the AI defense system is optimized to be efficient, minimize false alarms, and read the situation as friendly traffic coming home. So it stood down. And 3 US-American soldiers died because an algorithm couldn't tell the difference between a weapon and a colleague. It was not a technical glitch. It was actually a very, very clever exploitation. And this was not decades ago. Remember, this was just 1.5 years ago. Now, why are we starting with this? Because every single executive listening to this, every entrepreneur who's deploying AI in their business needs to understand something fundamental. The same mathematical logic that failed at Tower 22 is running your business systems right now. The AI transformation that everybody is celebrating, speed, efficiency, optimization, is built on the same infrastructure that is making life and death decisions as we're listening to this episode. This isn't a military story. This is a business warning. I'm Malcolm Werchota, and this is an episode of AI Drama, the investigative podcast about real AI disasters and the real human consequences. Let's talk about speed, because speed is what's currently driving everything in both business and warfare. And the defense industry, they're showing us how quickly things can move when you strip away the friction. Now, let's take a traditional defense contract. Normally, let's say the F-35 fighter jet program. From the moment you make a concept until you actually deploy it, it's roughly a 20-year process. 20 years. Why is it so slow? Because it's heavy on friction, heavy on bureaucracy, heavy on oversight. So normally you have endless rounds of ethical review, legal checks, congressional oversight, and physical testing. This is normally a 20-year process. And now comes Palmer Luckey. And Palmer Luckey founded Anduril. Now, Palmer Luckey, it's the kid who sold Oculus. Oculus are these very cool glasses that Facebook is manufacturing. So he sold Oculus to Facebook for $2 billion. And then he got fired for political donations. And then he said to himself, you know what? I'm good at building glasses and I'm good at building AI-powered stuff. So let me build AI-powered weapon systems. And Anduril, they don't wait for government RFPs. They just raise venture capital. They build the tech first, they prove it, and then they sell it to the military. And then you are able to condense 20 years into 18 months. 18 months. Think about that compression ratio for a second. That is a business metric that business leaders need to understand. Because if Anduril is able to collapse a 15 to 20-year process into 18 months, that is the kind of acceleration, the kind of capability to really move at an unprecedented speed. And that is what every single industry is chasing right now, might it be from biotech to finance to logistics. Business leaders are not looking for iterative improvement. They're looking for killing the old business model. And Palmer Luckey, he basically created something very cool and very new called Eagle Eye. If you don't know what Eagle Eye is, pause this right now and go and check out Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is a sort of new soldier's helmet. It's a sort of augmented reality helmet. When you put on Eagle Eye, you can see in front of you, but you can also see on top behind you. But it's not only about the view, because the view you would just think are just cameras. No, it's real-time tracking, drone feeds, threat assessments, and everything is synthesized by AI. Because think about it. When you're in a combat situation, a high-stress combat situation, cognitive overload is the enemy. If you need to focus on a million things, you will die. I mean, literally die. And the human brain can't process too much information. So if you need to analyze, think, and make slow decisions, you're dead. Now, the AI of Eagle Eye, it doesn't just dump raw data on the soldier. It filters everything. It synthesizes it. It presents only what is deemed critical for rapid decision-making and keeping the soldier alive. Palmer Luckey talks about turning soldiers into technomancers. The system tells the technomancer, that's a threat, engage. And the soldier thrusts the algorithm and goes ahead and takes out that threat. The soldier is not making decisions anymore. It is executing the AI's recommendation. Hey, this is a business model too. You know these AI dashboards that we're always talking about on the show? They are showing you critical insights. Instead of going through all your action items and switching your brain on, what should I do? Instead of really understanding what your customers should do, when you take the Eagle Eye concept, it's just showing you a recommendation and you need to go for it. Now, if you think about it, currently you're making decisions, you're executing recommendations. But when you look at real speed compression, Eagle Eye is a great example of this. And Palantir is another example. So Palantir is the data analytics company that went from Silicon Valley darling, everybody loves Palantir, to become a defense contractor. Essentially, for example, they are the ones who deploy the Meta constellation system in the Ukraine. Now, how did it work before? Well, the previous targeting process was that you had to gather intelligence, you had to analyze it, verify it, route it through the command chain, and then say, okay, this battalion that is the closest, this troops, they need to go and they need to execute and take out that threat. This is a process which was estimated at 6 to 8 hours before. Now, Palantir's system, they do it in 2 to 3 minutes. Do you understand this? 2 to 3 minutes to take somebody's life. In that time, what do? They do the target identification, and right away, 2 to 3 minutes later, missile launch. And this compression ratio we see everywhere. Might it be a loan approval that used to take days but now is happening in seconds? Might it be hiring decisions? Because you had to review hundreds of CVs, make 20 meetings with your HR colleagues, and it used to take a long time from the moment the CV comes in until you interview the people, until you choose them. Now we have AI taking care of that in sometimes hours instead of weeks. So now you have a similar 90% reduction in decision time. And every military on earth is racing to match it. China claims that their AI fighter pilots, they beat human veterans. And the US tested X-62 Vista. I don't know if you know about this. This is crazy. It's an F-16 plane that learned AI maneuvers that human pilots are not even able to physically withstand. Take out the pilot and your plane will fly better. And the US Air Force, they want 1,000 pilotless combat drones by 2028. Or you might say by 2028. No, this is already happening now in the Ukraine. The Ukraine is deploying thousands of AI-controlled first-person views, FPV drones, and 70 to 80% of all casualties are estimated to come from FPV drones. Some kids who used to play computer games 4 or 5 years ago are now sitting entrenched in a place, flying these drones, and 70 to 80% of all the casualties in that war are coming from FPV drones. Malcolm, that sounds very futuristic. What's happening in the Ukraine and AI killing people? Well, no, it's not happening in the Ukraine only. It's happening everywhere, under your nose, and you don't know about it. Let's talk about Where's Daddy? And let's talk about Lavender. Now, these systems, their names are very darkly poetic, but there are 2 systems that are deployed right now in Gaza by the Israeli army. They are real AI systems that the IDF is using, and they're really only built to kill people. Lavender is a machine learning system that is trained on existing intelligence data. It processes surveillance, communication, movement patterns, social connections, and it generates something called the probability score. How likely is this person a member of Hamas or the Islamic Jihad? And this system evaluates 2.3 million people in Gaza. And you know what it did? It designated 37,000 people as targets. 37,000 people that are being scored and marked by an algorithm. You know the way that the sniper has this little light, this laser that is coming on your forehead, in the middle of your forehead before you die? That is now an AI doing it. Now, we're not saying that these 37,000 people are Hamas operatives. We're saying there's a probability that they are Hamas operatives. But the critical detail, listen to this, the Israeli intelligence services, they admit, you know what, this system has a 10% error rate. 10%? That means that 10% of 37,000, which is 3,700 people, were designated as targets, but they're likely innocent. They're likely misidentified, and they're likely in the wrong place with the wrong name and the wrong pattern. And this number of, let's round it up to 4,000, it's not a glitch. It's something called an acceptable error rate. The system is working, and it's designed in this way. Because when you optimize for speed and for scale, accuracy is negotiable. And let's talk about the human review process. Now, Lavender flags a target. It says, look here, I think we need to authorize a strike on this person because it seems this person is a Hamas operative. Now then you would say, well, a human in the loop, right? A soldier needs to review this. Guess how long a soldier in the army in Israel takes to review this target? Guess and pause.
20 seconds on the clock. Dozen targets in my queue. Screen says kill, I click the box. Zero value, nothing new. Used to think, used to care. Now I'm just a human stamp. The machine
You're
makes
back?
it fair.
20 seconds. 20 seconds. 20 seconds to do what? I mean, to review intelligence data, assess whether the algorithm is correct, review the target's identity, and if they actually pose a threat, or if they're a father of 3 kids. Do you understand this? 20 seconds is nothing to decide if somebody lives or dies. That's not a meaningful human review. Forget it. It's just a rubber stamp. Now, one officer told investigators, look here, I would invest 20 seconds for each target at this stage and do dozens of them a day. I had zero added value as a human, apart from being what? A stamp of approval. A stamp of approval. And that is what human in the loop means when you optimize for speed. You're not here to decide. You're just here to take the blame when algorithms are wrong. And it has a name. It's called the moral crumple zone. Now, it's not actually an accident. It's not because the IDF is not building great systems. No, it's actually a design feature. So you put a low-level human in the loop, not because you want their judgment, because you need somebody to hold accountable when the system fails. Because the system cannot be prosecuted. You cannot put the system in front of a judge. But the people who are deploying it, I mean, they have plausible deniability. But the actual person who clicks approve in 20 seconds, they're responsible.
20 seconds on the clock. Dozen targets in my queue. Screen says kill, I click the box. Zero value, nothing new. Used to think, used to care. Now I'm just a human stamp. The machine makes it fair. I'm the bridge, I'm the ramp.
Had zero added value apart from my approval. The machine did it control, made the killing feel so smooth, yeah.
No blood on my hands tonight. Just pixels, just a screen. The algorithm got it right. I'm just a space between.
And now, let's talk about a very dark weapon called Where's Daddy? Now, Where's Daddy is the system that tracks when targets return home, which means when you're striking somebody in an office, on the streets, it causes complications because a Hamas operative is rarely alone. He might be in a building. He might be surrounded by his family. And that causes witnesses, collateral damage, international attention. But when they go home, when they're with their family, Where's Daddy notifies the operator, hey, the target is home now.
20 seconds to decide if your whole family dies tonight. The machine knows where you hide, knows when Daddy's home inside.
Strike now. Then the collateral damage is huge because entire families are being killed. Wives, children, parents. Why? All because an algorithm optimized for the moment of maximum isolation has said, hey, Daddy's home. And Israeli forces, they established a collateral damage threshold. Now, for low-ranking Hamas members, that number is anywhere between 15 to 20 civilian deaths. That is considered acceptable. But when you have a big shot, a senior commander, then that number is bumped up. Well, now we accept 300 civilians could be killed in a single strike. This is how the system is designed. So 30,000 people dead in Gaza in the last 6 months. More aid workers were killed in any conflict in history, exceeding the total from all global conflicts over the last 30 years combined. Aid workers. And the system that is making these targeted decisions, where are they running? They're running on the same cloud that you're using. Are you using Copilot? Well, where is Copilot running? On the Microsoft Azure cloud. It's the same infrastructure that is hosting your business software, your customer data, your AI models. This is 11,000 terabytes of Palestinian communication data, 200 million hours of surveillance, and all of that is processed, stored, analyzed on the same platform that you use to host your data. The same infrastructure, same optimization logistics, everything is the same. But only the labels are different. So, when your AI system makes a decision in 20 seconds, whatever, like approving a loan, or denying an insurance, or rejecting a job applicant, how much time are you also giving your managers or your operatives for a meaningful human review? Or, let me guess, also just 20-30 seconds. Well, ChatGPT said it's okay, let's do it. In this case, you're probably building the same moral crumple zone where a low-level employee, Mr. or Mrs. Rubber Stamp, approves the decision of an algorithm.
Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? I want to know. Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? 3 seconds till the glow. Acceptable collateral. 15 souls or so. Where's Daddy? The algorithm knows.
Yeah, but Malcolm, that's the IDF. That's the Mossad. They're one of the most advanced organizations in the world. No, they're not. These are commercial products. You can buy them. Not you, but your government can buy them. Or rebel groups can buy them. They're commercial products. And they're the same companies providing you with business tools. They're running on the same hosting platforms like the ones that you're using. So for example, we talked about Microsoft Azure. It's not just a cloud platform. It's the infrastructure that is hosting the Israeli military surveillance system. You know, the one that is processing 11,000 terabytes of Palestinian communications? But that's Microsoft. No, Amazon Web Services. They're not only running Amazon where you can go and buy whatever, your next mouse or your keyboard. It's also powering Project Nimbus. And Project Nimbus is Israel's $1.2 billion military cloud contract. Okay, I mean, Microsoft, Amazon, now Google. Well, Google Cloud is not just hosting your business analytics. It's also contracting for military AI projects, even though internally employees rebelled over it. It's the same companies, the same infrastructure, the same AI models. And it's not just limited to American tech companies. You see, the infrastructure is shared by everybody, and the math is shared by everybody. The only difference is, where do you point this infrastructure at? And what do you do when you keep it up at night? Is it used to choose the next Hamas operative when he's at home? Because when dad is at home, we can strike, and it's okay if 20, 30 people die. It's part of the way that the algorithm is built. And 2018, Google employees, they staged massive protest over this program. It was called Project Maven. It was a Pentagon AI program. And 4,000 Googlers signed a letter. Dozens actually had to resign, and Google backed down. But that was 7 years ago. So man, I don't understand. What happened in these last 7 years that now Google and all these companies are happy to participate? Well, what happened is that the narrative really shifted. The pressure to do what? Well, first of all, the pressure to outpace China. Because they are very fast. They are fast moving in the rollout of AI, also in military. And Pentagon officials, they say, you know, the resistance that these tech companies had, well, it melted away. Because every major AI company now is competing for defense contracts. Every AI company that you're using, ChatGPT, Grok from Elon Musk, Claude from Anthropic, all of them have gotten defense contract. Anthropic, man, that's that company that is positioning itself as the ethical AI alternative to OpenAI. Well, they just launched Claude Government. It's a special version of their AI, specifically designed for classified military operations. And it has the guardrails removed. Do you understand? Removed, not adapted, not strengthened, removed. Because the government contract is so big and the strategic positioning so critical that they say, okay, you want it, Mr. Pentagon? Okay, we will remove all the guardrails. And OpenAI is publicly saying, we must outpace China. It's not speculation anymore. This is a documented reality. And it means when you deploy these AI systems in your business, you're not just adopting neutral technology. You're adopting the same technology that is used to kill people and to eliminate human judgment in warfare. Because the algorithm, it doesn't care who you point it at. It just optimizes.
No blood on my hands tonight. Just pixels, just a screen. The algorithm got it right. I'm just a space between.
So here we are. Palmer Luckey is turning soldiers into technomancers. And Palantir in the Ukraine, well, is compressing a kill chain from 6 hours down to 2 or 3 minutes. And Israel, remember where's daddy? Well, they're using a system that is designating and targeting 37,000 people as targets, but probably 10% wrong. And remember who's helping to build all of this? The Googles, the Anthropics, the Microsofts, that's not just the future. That's now October 2025. So this episode is not just about defense. It's about the reflection of what's happening in defense to your organization when you're deploying AI. Because we're deploying AI to make decisions faster than any human can actually review it right now. And the playbook, it's not just about business disruption. It's about, okay, who can kill at scale and still live with it, but who can deploy AI at scale and grow the company? So when you're mandating a rapid AI adoption in your organization and you're building the infrastructure on the same infrastructure that these government organizations are using, and unless your guardrails are meaningful and not just that symbolic 20-second rubber stamp that an Israeli soldier have, then you're at risk. It's not even a risk that you can really decide on. Let me explain. Currently, will you be one of these companies, one of these leaders who's building AI systems with humanity intact, with human in the loop? Or are you going to build it in with speed and say, I don't care about guardrails, I just want to make it happen relatively quickly? The thing is, it's not really a choice that you have. Because if you are like, let's say, the European Union, and say, we need to build in guardrails, we need to build the EU AI Act, we need to do everything correctly, then you will not be weeks or months behind your competitor. You're going to be light years behind your competitor. Because today we heard in this episode how AI is radically transforming an industry, the defense industry. But probably it's also changing your industry. You just don't realize it. And you're building use cases where you're letting AI take a decision. But the question is, every single person deploying AI systems right now, might it be an executive, an engineer, a product manager, an entrepreneur, everybody, we all have to make choices. And we need to make choices where the algorithm that we're using, it doesn't have a conscience, it doesn't have a moral compass. If it's very biased, it might kick out every person, for example, of a certain nationality. It might kick out people of a certain age. It might kick out people who are just not learning AI quickly enough based on a Copilot dashboard. You see, the algorithm, it doesn't have a conscience. It can kill people, or it can score people to be able to kill them, or it can also score customers. It's customers that maybe before received a loan in your financial institution. But now the AI says, look, it's really not worth it. That person is not getting a loan. And these are decisions when we're rolling out AI that we need to understand. If you're building AI systems right now, what would you do if the technology that you're building ended up in a system like, where's Daddy? I mean, would you be proud? Or would you pretend that you didn't know? Or would you just be like Microsoft, Google, and AWS and say, well, we're just providing the cloud. What you're doing on this cloud, we can't really influence. That's it, guys. There's no good answer to this question. Would I be proud if I knew that some of the customers that we're working with and that we're training are actually deploying AI knowledge then in their defense systems? For sure I wouldn't.
"20 seconds on the clock. Dozen targets in my queue. Screen says kill, I click the box. value, nothing new. Used to think, used to care. Now I'm just a human stamp. The machine makes it fair. I'm the bridge, I'm the ramp.
I had zero added value apart from my approval. The machine did it control, made the killing feel so smooth, yeah.
No blood on my hands tonight. Just pixels, just a screen. The algorithm got it right. I'm just a space between.